Last time you saw me, I was studying abroad in Dublin, Ireland. Well, once I got back to the United States, I knew my experience overseas wasn't over. Little did I know that my next experience abroad would take me to Copenhagen, Denmark.
I can hear the ocean noise. I can feel the pulsing crowd, buzzing like a radio, pumping like a disco sound. I can see the burning sun breaking through a raining cloud, just like my heartbeat beating through the town.
Here's my story studying abroad in Copenhagen, Denmark. After arriving in Denmark, I was shocked to know that it was going to be really cold once I stepped outside. Being unprepared for the weather, I started to think that my few months in Denmark was going to be dreadful. When I was greeted by my host mother and host brother and saw that they both were very welcoming and kind, things immediately started to look up. Plus, when I arrived to their home, I had the urge to fall asleep after a 6-hour flight. But since I needed to adjust to their time, my host mother gave me some Danish coffee, and after one sip, I was up for the rest of the day. A few weeks later, I met my host sister who came back from her trip from Asia. As weeks progressed, I began to feel like I was becoming a part of their family. So far, I had picked up a few Danish words and phrases from my host family, such as hi, which means hi in Danish, hi, which means goodbye, tak, which means thank you, hyggelig, which means cozy, and my favorite word, luk maflu, which is strawberry stew. When it was time to leave my host family for a school activity, I was both happy and sad. I was happy that I was going to see new places, but sad to leave my new home. While studying with the Danish Institute for Study Abroad, better known as DIS, I was required to have a core program. I decided to study positive psychology since back at home, psychology is my minor. With the program, my classmates and I had the opportunity to go on a short study tour to visit Western Denmark. A few weeks later, my classmates and I hopped on a plane and went to Milan, Italy for a long study tour. While there, we were able to immerse ourselves in the Italian culture while visiting a local university to learn more about positive psychology.
I can't tell you're actually figured out.
Okay, this is so, thank you so much. On our last day, we went to Lake Como, and I decided to go boat paddling for the first time.
We're starting.
Oh, this looks really cute. It does look kind of sketch.
I'm getting him really confused right now. Okay, I'm gonna. Trevor is going on his escapade.
Oh guys, did I mention that I don't know how to swim?
Oh.
Seriously, man?
I'm really serious, I don't know how to swim.
Dun dun dun! And he goes off into the wilderness. Turning like a pro. And there he goes.
Trevor, wave. Cute.
A few weeks later, after my long study tour to Milan, Italy, it was time for me to go on my 2-week break. Instead of traveling to multiple cities for a couple of days each, I decided to go back to where it all started.
God bless you all. I'll lead you to a promised land.
While in Dublin, I remembered one of my friends recommending that I not spend my entire break in one country. So since I was a huge Harry Potter fan, I decided to visit Scotland for a couple of days and see the beauty it has to offer.
Sit down on life. They're all trying to fill the holes inside. Sometimes they get too wide, honey. Some are hard to find.
Little did I know that on my first night, I was going to go to a concert with some new friends. After having an amazing time in Scotland, I decided to spend the last few days of my break back in Ireland. When I went back to Ireland, a new friend and I decided to go on a day tour to the cliffs of Moher. Little did I know that on a day tour, I was going to make a new friend. When it was time for me to say farewell to Dublin and head back to Copenhagen, I started to think about how lucky I was to study abroad again in a different country, but also had the opportunity to go back to a country that means so much to me. As my plane took off to go back to Denmark, I knew that this was not a goodbye to Ireland. Instead, it was until we meet again. When I returned to Denmark, I knew that my time with my host family was coming to an end. Instead of dwelling on the short time I had, I decided to take action and spend as much time as I can with them. On one of my last days in Denmark, my host family and I spent the entire day together and went to the Vikings Museum. A couple of nights later, my entire host family and I went out to dinner for the last time. When we came back, a couple of gifts were waiting for me, along with some dessert. Later that night, I started to think about what I was going to miss and not miss about Denmark. I knew both the weather and the high taxes were at the top of my not miss list. Other than that, the most important thing I was going to miss was the people I met.
Whatever's yours is mine.
The toughest day came when it was time for me to leave my host family and go back to America. I was thrilled that I was going home to see my loved ones, but sad that I was leaving behind some of the best people who ever came into my life. The lifelong friends I made, the people I now call my Danish family, and the amazing experiences I had helped me realize just how lucky I was. Though I had some rainy days while abroad, I made sure not to allow any moments like that ruin my experience. You're probably wondering, what's next for me? Am I going to China? Argentina? The moon? All I can say is, wherever life takes me, that's where I'll go.
And my favorite song, and a champion.